Good day. Welcome to Alan Educates. And for today's lesson, we are to judge the validity of various evidences in a text. So last week we judged the validity uh, of various listening texts. So for this week, we will about to judge the various evidences in a listening text. So this is again part of English 9 quarter 3 of the lesson. So for the most essential learning competency, we are about to judge the validity of the evidence listened to. And for our objectives, so at the end of this learning session, learners are expected to study evidences in its types, understand claims and counterclaims, and validate the speech I Am Filipino by Carlos P. Romulo. Claims and counterclaims. Every paragraph we would write has a claim and it can be counterclaimed by anyone. Claims are classified as the main arguments in writing, while on the other hand, counterclaims are the opposite of the argument or simply the opposing arguments. So here are examples. So for claim, Jollibee or Jollibee should be considered a healthy restaurant because they offer water, fruit, and salad. On the counterclaim example is, even though they have a few healthy options on the menu, Jollibee should not overall considered healthy because the vast majority of their options are greasy, fried, and high in calories. In presenting your claims and counterclaims to others, you must have a valid evidences that are rooted in a reality or in a state of being real and accurate. So evidence in text deals with facts in writing and the strategies used to figure out whether or not the information is factual. So textual evidences come into play when an author presents a position or thesis and uses evidence to support the claims. So evidence can come in a number of different forms. So differentiating evidence from a claim. So evidence is not the same as a claim. So evidence is a single fact or set of facts. So for example, Leonor Briones is the current Education Department Cabinet Secretary is a fact. No? A claim is a statement that can be in dispute or and requires further evidence. So aliens are buried at Area 52 in Nevada is a claim that can't be verified. So textual evidence only uses facts to make its point. Number one, so for now we are about to learn the types of evidences to use in writing. So if you're writing any academic related essays, you can use various types of evidence to add supporting details and provide proofs of your thesis statement. So, previously, we have known the thesis statement. This is the central idea of the paragraph. So, knowing how to use this effectively and which types of evidence best support various points can help you write a stronger, persuasive writing. Number one, type. Anecdotal evidence. So these are the stories that form a connection. So many writings feature anecdotal evidence, especially as an attention grabber or hook in the introduction. Anecdotal evidence is stories or case studies that support your thesis. On its own, it's not a strong type of evidence. It's the retelling of something that happened to one person or a few people. However, in writing, it helps you form a connection with your readers. That connection is very important if you want to convince readers of your thesis. So some examples of anecdotal evidence include the following. Interviews with someone who tells a story related to your thesis, a personal experience related to your topic, a case study from a journal or your own research, and an excerpt from a journal or letter. Next type is testimonial evidences or the opinions of experts. So the following are examples of testimonial evidence you may use. Direct interviews with experts in your topic, quote from an expert book, paper, or newspaper editorial, conclusions from essays written by expert, and your own specialized knowledge if you have the credential for experience to support it. So basically, testimonial evidences are the evidences that is rooted from the opinions of experts. So just like in a court case, bringing in an expert opinion is a great way to add support for your writing. Their authority on the topic is frequently seen as above questioning. This is a good way to add support to your own opinions within an essay and to your thesis as a whole. You can also use testimonial evidence to support topic sentences in your paragraph. You should always establish credibility for the expert before using that person's opinion as supporting evidence in your writing. The third type of evidence is statistical evidence, or the numbers that matters. So, statistics are powerful, especially if they come from good sources. You can use statistics as a type of support in writing if they directly relate to your thesis. Especially shocking statistics can even capture your reader's attention in your introduction and immediately begin to create support for your writing. The key is good sourcing, since statistics are easy to refute if they come from sources that are not reputable. So, examples of statistical evidence that you may use are numbers gleaned from your own research or surveys you have conducted, numbers from personal experience if you have sources to support them, percentage from good sources like government reports or peer-reviewed studies, and measurements and numbers you gathered yourself or gathered from research. The fourth type of evidence that you can imply in text is the textual evidence or support from other writing. So, if you're writing about a book, speech, play, or other written document, you may need to use textual evidence to support your thesis. Whether you use textual evidence, you need to be specific about where you found this evidence in the text. You should include page numbers and other information to guide the reader in verifying your evidence. So you should also directly state why this evidence is important and what it proves. So some example of textual evidence are direct quotation from books or other text source, accurate summarizes of what happened or what said in the text, larger passages that relate directly to the thesis of your essay, and paraphrases of what the author says in the next, or in the text rather. The fifth type of evidence that you can imply in writing is analogical evidence, or these are the comparisons with a known situation. So one of the weakest type of evidence in writing, analogical evidence compares something that is not certain or known with a situation that is known. Then the text draws conclusion based on that comparison. Although there are significant weaknesses in this type of evidence, it is sometimes the only option for offering support. To make this an effective type of support in writing, you need to make a strong case for the similarities between the situation about which you're writing and the situation that is known case. So here are some examples of analogical evidence. A peer-reviewed study that is similar in many ways to the topic in your essay, an expert opinion about something very similar to your topic, a court case or historical event that is similar to your thesis, and statistical form or from a journal or direct research that is related to your topic but not exactly the same. The last type of evidence that you can employ in writing is hypothetical evidence. These are enough detail to seem real. So hypothetical evidence offers a projection or guess about a future scenario with enough sensory detail and imagery to feel like it is real. This is similar to an anecdote, but it is a weaker form of evidence. This story didn't really happen, but your job is to make the reader believe that it could. Done well and used sparingly, this can form a connection with the reader. For example, if you are writing about latchkey children should have supervision at home, you might imagine a situation in which an unsupervised child gets into trouble while cooking alone. So here are some examples of hypothetical evidence. A story about what would happen if your thesis were true, a story to go with the statistic form or from a good source, and an imagery event that would trigger an action related to your thesis. Using evidences in making strong arguments. So knowing how to use different types of evidence is essential for any kind of writing, including essays. Each type of evidence has strengths and weaknesses, and how you use them depends on what you're trying to prove. Consider mixing multiple forms of evidence in the supporting details for your essay to make the strongest argument. So, after knowing different types of evidence in writing, now it is our time for us to read the speech I Am Filipino by Carlos P. Romulo. So I'll give you minutes to read the speech, and later on, we will answer some exercises to ponder our learning. But before that, let's know some background of the speaker. So Carlos Peña Romulo was a Filipino diplomat, statesman, soldier, journalist, and author. He was a reporter at 16, a newspaper editor by the age of 20, and a publisher at 32. He was a co-founder of the Boy Scouts of the Philippines, a general in the U.S. Army and the Philippine Army, university president, president of UN General Assembly, was eventually named one of the Philippines National Artist in Literature, and was the recipient of many other honors and honorary degrees. He was born in Camilig, Tarlac, and he studied at Camilig Central Elementary School during his basic education. So here is his speech, I Am Filipino. Time's up. So, how's the speech? So, for our exercises, let's try to validate and identify the type of evidence used in each paragraph. Number 1, oh, I love Ireland. I visited the West Coast 6 times this year. Have you ever been to Kilmacduagh? It's an old monastery where the winds whip with songs of the deceased who are laid to rest there. What type of evidence is used in this paragraph? 1, 2, 3, time's up. The used type of evidence here is anecdotal evidence. Next, number 2. All of the people must respect and nurture the ones that has been left behind, those who can't easily adapt in many changes. Have you ever wondered paperless transactions, cashless systems, and mere technological use in all daily activities? Does it easy for those people? I didn't think so. What type of evidence is used in this paragraph? 1, 2, 3, time's up. It is hypothetical evidence, or it is an example of hypothetical evidence, the usage of hypothetical evidence. Number 3, Roma Di Luna, an experienced music teacher for 28 years, have shared the difficulties of the current asynchronous and synchronous learning modalities in the new normal. She claims that many of her students didn't actually know and learn concepts in music such as note reading, rhythm finding, and tone making. She further said that she is hesitant in giving great grades, knowing that a paper doesn't signify performance in music. What type of evidence is used in this paragraph? 1, 2, 3. Time's up. So, it is a testimonial evidence that is used in this paragraph. For our comprehension questions, answer the following queries in complete sentences. Number 1, what type or types of evidence or evidences is or are dominant in the selection? Number 2, what fascinates you of being Filipino after reading the writing of the late Carlos P. Romulo? Number 3, what does the below paragraph implies? Explain briefly. At the vanguard of progress in this part of the world I stand, a forlorn figure in the eyes of some, but not one defeated and lost. For through the thick interlacing branches of habit and custom above me, I have seen the light of the sun, and I know that it is good. I have seen the light of justice and equality and freedom, and my heart has been lifted by the vision of democracy, and I shall not rest until my land and my people shall have been blessed by this, beyond the power of any man or nation to subvert or destroy. Thank you, and this ends our learning session for today. If you find this helpful, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Mabuhay!